Try not to go very long this morning. I know it's Mother's Day and we all have different things to do with our families. I have a little poem I'd like to start out with. A lady named Lenora McWhorter once wrote, "The hand that rocks the cradle also makes the house a home. It is the prayers of the mother that keeps the family strong. Mother rises early in the morning and bathes her day in prayer. She talks to God about her family and places them in His care. Mother communicates her love in 1,000 different ways. When there's a need, she is there, whether it is night or day. Mother seasons life with love and gives so much of herself. God placed in her the best He had and made her unlike anyone else. When challenges come our way and when trials block our view, Mother kneels down beside her bed and prays the family through. Mother is God's special creation. She is a light shining in the dark, illuminating the path for her family and pointing them toward God." And thousands of years prior to this, Moses, under the inspiration of God Himself, wrote, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty. Darkness was upon the surface of the deep, and God's Spirit was hovering over the surface of the waters. And God said, 'Let there be light.' And there was light. And then God said, 'Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the sky, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth.' So God created man in His own image. In God's image He created him, male and female. He created them. God blessed them, and God said to them, 'Be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, and subdue it.'" You know, obviously when it comes to Mother's Day, we all like to think about maybe our own mom, or maybe if you are a mom, you're thinking of your kids and all that you do, or maybe we're thinking of our wives and all they do for us and for our children. And we had something interesting happen this week, which kind of gives a little synopsis of what goes on in our house sometimes and what Shelley deals with. And I came home from work and I saw all of our bedding hanging out on the line. So I knew Shelley had washed it. I didn't think anything of it. I figured she just thought it was time to wash it and she had it hanging out to dry. And so I come in and I'm going around the house and I sit down and Shelley comes over calmly and she sits down beside me at the table. And she stares at me for a minute and then she says, "So, while you were at work," she said, "Grace filled up her diaper, took it off, and then climbed on our bed and rolled around." And so it sort of makes me think, this is actually one of the lighter things that have happened in our house, but it kind of makes me think of all the junk that I put my mom through when I was growing up. Now, I remember there was a period of my life where I really enjoyed watching the old Disney cartoon, Peter Pan. And as I was watching this cartoon, I was having dreams. It seemed like I was having dreams quite a bit, almost every night, that I could fly like Peter Pan could fly. And so these dreams were taking place in my bedroom. I thought I was waking up and then I'd go to the top of the stairs and I'd float down into the kitchen. And so reality, as this little kid, because I don't know how old I was, probably not too much older than Gracie, reality started to get blurred with these dreams and I thought I could actually fly like Peter Pan. So my mom, thankfully, just happened to be at the bottom of the stairs because that's where she folded laundry. And she said she watched me as I was climbing up the stairs, and that's where my bedroom was and where the toys were, so she figured that's what I was going up to do. And so she watched me climb all the way up to the top, and then she turned back to what she was doing, and then all of a sudden she heard me say, "Mommy, jump!" And I jumped from the top of the stairs, and Mom had to catch me, and she still blames her back problems on me to this day. But that's what moms go through. And I remember another time, they're also a lot smarter than we give them credit for, because I remember another time she was taking a shower, and I had this toy and I was wanting to cut this piece of this toy off. Don't ask me why. I was a weird kid. I see it in my kids nowadays. They kind of think the same way, so I have to be really careful with them because they might try and cut their finger off like I did. But while Mom was in the shower, I knew I wasn't allowed to play with knives. But I went into the kitchen, got a knife, and I'm trying to cut this thing. And I sliced it right into my thumb. I mean, real deep into my thumb, and so deep that every time the heart would beat, it was just spurting blood out everywhere. And so I grab a towel and I put it on my thumb, and I walk right beside the bathroom door where Mom is showering and show it to my sister. And I say to my sister right there as loud as possible, "Don't tell Mom about this." And of course, Mom says, "Don't tell Mom what?" And she came out. They're a lot smarter than we think they are. Now, mothers go through a lot for their children. They spend 9 months watching their bodies change as a living being grows inside of them. They endure morning sickness and cramps and mood swings and sleepless nights. Then they experience a great deal of pain just to bring the child into this world. Some even embrace children that they did not birth. And with this comes the courage of loving a little one that may be emotionally scarred and or troubled, but they still treat them as it's their own. But the lifetime of sacrifices are only actually beginning at these early stages, and they're certainly not ending. In utter exhaustion, mothers give up of themselves to care for their baby's needs at all hours of the night and day. And when they are still recovering from all of these major changes to their body and to their emotions, and just to give you a little example of that, I remember, I think it was after Abigail was born, Shelley was up in our bedroom. It was kind of late in the evening, and it was a really hot summer night, and I had turned the air conditioner on, and she said she was cold, and I said, "Well, can you just put an extra blanket on?" I said, "Because I'm really hot and I need this air conditioner on." I walk out of the room for a second and I come back in and she's crying, and I said, "Fine, I'll turn the air conditioner off." But it wasn't really the air conditioner that was upsetting her. She was just very emotional, and moms go through that, especially as they're coming through that part where they've just given birth. Now, when moms are sick themselves and they're in need of attention, they still focus on caring for their child because they have to. I remember Shelley putting off her gallbladder surgery from Abigail all the way through Grace. And then finally when we got to a point with Grace where they said it had to come out, she still wanted to wait because she wanted to be able to breastfeed, because she wanted to make sure the babies got those nutrients. So she put off her own problems to care for the kids. And many moms do that. They spend countless hours worrying about the future and the life that their little ones are going to grow up and inherit, and the people that they're going to become. And they kiss the scrapes and the boo-boos that we get in the backyard as we're out there playing in our younger and more carefree days. And amazingly, this in and of itself is usually enough to soothe us and to calm us down. Just a little kiss from our mom. And the sleepless nights never seem to end, however, as no matter what age we are, Mom now worries about what her grown child is up to, what he's doing, what she's doing. And as she hurts for us through all of the pain that we experience, she feels it for us also. And no matter how grown up we think we are, when we go out and we face the adult scrapes and boo-boos of this life, even when we're in middle age, it's always still soothing to go back home and feel that kiss from Mom and to have those warm, loving arms wrapped back around us once more. And that is because mothers are created in the very image of God. You see, there's something innate, built into the character of all women. Now, of course, we'll add the caveat that we can reject it. Men and women can reject what God has given them. And many times that does happen because we live in a broken world, and that's of our own choice. And it can be fun for a time and for a season to be selfish, and sometimes we do choose that. But society has continued forward for thousands of years, all because of the love of God that is made manifest through the character of mothers who were created in His image. As I read earlier, Moses said, "In God's image He created him, male and female He created them, and God blessed them. You see, God gave the two sexes two very different characters. Men and women are very different in more ways than just anatomy. And because we are fallen, and we like to choose selfishness sometimes over selflessness, many times those differences cause conflict. And the family unit is broken. But the true character of mom and the true character of dad were not made to conflict with one another, and we can make them coexist in harmony because each of the differences reflect the one singular and perfect nature of God Himself. And the male and female, both, as we read, created in the image of God, combined together in holy marriage, establish the bedrock of all creation, the pinnacle, which is the family. And they bring a completion to what God envisioned for humanity. And then the stage is set for new life. And that new life, that baby, has given to it, in its very own house, the full nature of God through the united character of dad and mom. Now, moms were created in the image of God to show us the loving and nurturing nature of our Heavenly Father. I saw a perfect example of this last week as I was at work in Hebron. Outside of the library there is, has anybody ever heard of, I think it's called a killdeer type of bird? Have you ever heard of that? Okay, so I didn't have too much experience with those prior to seeing this out there. But they're not very smart in certain ways because they'll just come lay their eggs anywhere on the ground, sometimes in gravel, sometimes in the parking lot. And so this particular one, she's laid her eggs just outside the library, right in the front yard, and she's lucky that the supervisor there has taken pity on her, and she's kind of put this little fence around her to protect her from people so that she can have her kids there. But she was telling me a little bit about the nature of killdeer, which I didn't know, and that is they mate for life. So the dad and the mom, they stay together, and each of them take turns with the eggs, and then eventually, as the eggs hatch, they will lead them someplace safe and teach them how to eat and then send them off on their own. Now, when they feel threatened, this is the interesting part. When they feel threatened, like something is coming at their eggs, they do something that is very unique. It's very interesting, and it happened to me. She told me about this. I hadn't seen it done, but I think it was Thursday or Friday morning. I came in to open the library, and I was by myself. And as I was walking up towards the front walk, which is not far to where they were, one of the birds saw me, and it was afraid that I was coming towards the kids. So it did exactly what she told me it would do. It came away from the nest. It started screeching, and then it put its wing out like its wing was broken, hoping that I would say, "Oh, this is wounded prey. I can go after this easy." And then it led me away from the nest with this broken wing to sacrifice itself for its children. You see, the bird loves its children so much that, like I said, it's willing to sacrifice its own life. And this is its way of doing it, to lead something towards it away from the babies, to sacrifice its own life for these unhatched babies it hasn't even met yet, and for its entire family, because that is the character of our God. The Bible tells us in John 3:16, "For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him shall not perish, but have everlasting life." I'll read it again. "For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him shall not perish, but have everlasting life." Just like Christ coming to take us, to take the sacrifice for us, as that bird's mother did. So to all you moms out there this morning who may be discouraged, and to all the ladies who may not be biologically a mom, yet God has placed you as a mother figure in someone else's life. Maybe you feel like you failed your children. Or maybe you feel like you failed your husband. Or maybe you feel like you failed your entire family. But I'm here this morning to encourage you because God wants you to be encouraged. I'm here this morning to remind you that you are created in the very image of Jehovah God Himself. And that is very special. The Creator of the entire universe has given part of His very nature to you. And He has called this creation very good. So it doesn't matter what mistakes you think you might have made in the past. It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter what you think your failures are. It doesn't matter if things have turned out differently than how you would have planned. The breath of the Holy God is inside of you this morning, and you still have work to do revealing His nature as He's given it to you. You bear His image in your life through your character, just as that bird did. It's innate. It's inside of us. It's what God has given us. You bear it through your sacrifice. And most importantly, you bear His image through your love. Now, ladies, God has given a very special part of Himself to you, something that He did not give to men. Because, as I said, we both bear the image of God. Men, as Moses said, men and women were created in the image of God, but God gave a part of Him to men and a part of Him to women. And combined together, we reveal the true nature of God. So God has given a very special part of Himself to you that He did not give to us men. So embrace it. Don't reject it. Kids need mom. Dad needs mom. The church needs mom. And the world needs mom. Because mom has shoes that no one else in this world is going to be able to fill. If you would stand with us this morning, our closing hymn will be number 181.